Live from the top of Toxin Gamers Tower in the heart of Araxis, this is Goyo bringing you the next installment of the Toxin Audio News. With a recent announcement that Higby has received his haircut, much of the community is in uproar as we wait for the beta invites for Planetside 2. In the meantime, I have Jepaul, the commanding general and primary benefactor of Toxin Gamers, here for his officer highlight. Good evening, Jepaul, and welcome to the studio.
Glad to be here.
Who are you as a gamer and within Toxin Raiders?
Oh, Goyo, I tell you what, I get asked that a lot, and I guess it depends on what time of day you might ask me. I mean, I wear a lot of hats. You know, sometimes I'm the guy on the forums navigating that. Sometimes I'm on TS cleaning up the mess that some of my glorious outfit members like to create, and the other times I'm the one causing the mess. So wear a lot of hats, but been here a while. Between Naz and I, and I'm not sure if y'all have interviewed Naz yet or not, but I hope you have the opportunity. He and I like to be called mother and father, I guess, is as far as my role here, I enjoy everything about it. I enjoy the big picture. I enjoy giving the outfit a direction. I've got a lot of people here who are a lot better gamers than I am, whether it be competitive or casual. I've got a lot of people here who are better strategists than I am. I got people here that quite frankly, are a lot better leaders. But I think what I bring to the table is the ability to identify people's talents. And I think that the guys here in the outfit have entrusted me to put the best people in a place that they can be successful.
What is Toxin Raiders?
You got to go way back, and I guess if Cracker and Zico and some of the other outfit members here, some of the old guard, I guess you would say, even before I came on, started playing, I guess all the way back to the ASW. I mean, I don't know if you remember that stuff, but you can talk to Naz and some of these folks, and they can help educate you. But as we progressed as a clan and as a guild and as an outfit, we all kept looking for that game that we could immerse ourselves into. We enjoyed Battlefield 2 combat. We enjoyed Call of Duty. We enjoyed all the great FPSs. But what we enjoyed about all of those games, each of them seemed to do better than anybody else. And what we're hoping for here is that Planetside 2 can kind of bring all that together. And so whereas we were Toxin, and I would say that we are a multi-gaming community, and many of us play under the tags of Toxin for Planetside 2 purposes, we're going into this war as Toxin Raiders. And Toxin Raiders, we're a member of the Vanu Sovereignty. We're excited about that. We're excited about the challenges that can bring to us. And quite frankly, we're just looking forward to turning the world purple.
When did you start gaming?
I guess I got a little bit of a late start, Goyo. I'm 34. Probably a little long in the tooth compared to a lot of our outfit members, but we do have some people that are older than I am. And so I got my first taste probably about 8 years ago. I remember when Battlefield 2 came out, kind of that first FPS that really brought a lot of people into the PC gaming community. And I remember this just vividly, like it was yesterday. I was on whatever Battlefield 2's official website was, just looking on there. And on the bottom, there was this little click-through icon that says, have you ever thought about gaming in a mature, controlled, massive environment? And I was like, man, that sounds like something I'd be interested in. I clicked on it. It took me to Battlefield Combat Studios, and I don't know if anybody listening has ever played that or is familiar with that, but what a just amazing experience that was. I clicked on there. This will date me. I remember downloading Teamspeak 2 when it first came out and trying to navigate how the hell to install Teamspeak 2 and to get a microphone to work. And this was right when VoIP and, this is before Skype. This is before Mumble and all these things. And so I remember logging on there, and I remember just opening up this window and people talking as if I was on the phone. And I hopped through channels, and I became a part of this army, and I met guys like Conan and UT Host and a lot of guys that I would still call friends to this day. And so that was 8 years ago. We were the 38P, and from that kind of formed the core of what ended up being Toxin. So I would say my first taste of PC gaming was 8 years ago on Battlefield 2.
Where are you and most of Toxin Raiders from?
Goyo, if you probably tell from my accent, I'm either from the Southeast or, quite frankly, I'm from Texas. I recently relocated, quite the culture shock. I live in LA now, of all places, and so I'm on the West Coast. We've got a few others out here on the West Coast as well. I know we've got a few guys in Arizona and Nevada, but I would say the majority of our members are Northeast, North America, and we got a few Canadians, quite a few actually, and we've got some European brothers who we really enjoy playing with. And as one of the leaders of Toxin Raiders, I feel it is really important to have a good core group of Europeans. What that allows us to do is to field an outfit ideally 24 hours a day, on a scale. And if you're listening to this, what the hell, how's that possible? Well, quite frankly, it is. our goal is to get a membership, an active membership that 24 hours a day, and we need the Europeans to do this. We've got 15 or 20 guys sitting there representing Toxin on our server, and that's important to me. And, I want to be a respected outfit. I want to be a feared outfit, and I think by doing that it starts with active members. And I think it's more than just being on there 4 hours a night, 5 nights a week. I want to be on there all day, every day. I want to empower people to lead. I want to motivate them to lead, and I want to give them reasons to lead. So if you're listening to this podcast and you think that's something you want to be a part of, tell you what, my philosophy of recruiting, and I get flamed for this on the forums. And you know what? I will argue till I'm blue in the teeth on the forums, and quite frankly, I enjoy it. But we cast a really wide net when it comes to recruiting, and I get a lot of flack with that. But doing that, it allows me to find some of those diamonds in the rough. And we have found some solid gamers, and we've found some solid leaders by, quite frankly, having an open recruitment and trimming it back from there. We'll give you the opportunity to prove yourself. And quite frankly, if it's not something that ends up working out, I'll be the first to tell you.
Why is Toxin Raiders interested in Planetside 2?
Well, Goyo, I alluded to it a little bit earlier. The memories that we have of that organized Battlefield 2 combat testing, and a lot of things that brought our core members together, we've been looking for that. And, the combination of an FPS, organized play on a massive scale. I mean, I tell you what, if that doesn't sum up Planetside 2 very quickly, that's it. Organized, massive, that's what that brings to the table. And so, do we know what all Planetside 2 is going to allow us to do? No. And I'm excited about that. We've got a lot of great MMO players. I mean, we've played Age of Conan. We've played Sortar. We've done a lot of massive MMO. And while we were doing all those MMOs, we were also logging off and going and playing some of our FPSs that we've all loved. So to bring those two genres of games into one that will allow us as a community to work together, and quite frankly, most important, practice together. I've got more fond memories from practicing and boot camps, and doing things with my own outfit when we weren't even killing anybody else. I mean, I tell you what, if you're looking for an outfit, if you're out there going, I don't know, there's a lot of people out there that know what they're doing. I'm telling you, we know what we're doing, and we also have a really time doing it together. And so that is why we're excited about Planet 2, and we have all the answers? No. But are we hoping to find them, and do we want other people to come here and help educate us on it? Absolutely.
Of all the outfits out there, why are you with Toxin Raiders?
Goyo, I tell you what, that's an excellent question. One that I get fairly often, especially from new recruits and whispers and PMs on the forums and forum posts, because especially when it comes to Planetside 2, such an old game, such a game with a fantastic base of players who are passionate about it. Why would I personally be a part of Toxin Gamers, and quite frankly, why would other people want to be a part of Toxin Raiders? And the easy answer, the cliche, everybody hears it 1,000 times. Yes, the camaraderie. Yes, the friendship. Yes, the organization. Yes to all those things. But I would take it to a different notch. I would think that a community as large as we are and as large as we are wanting to be, especially within the Planetside 2 realm of things, is, quite frankly, between myself, Naz, Burn, Gabbage, a lot of the officers, Cracker, our recruitment guy, and a lot of the old guard, I can promise you anybody that becomes a part of Toxin Raiders, and it's one of the reasons I did as well, is we are always going to provide the resources to have a successful outfit, and we are always going to provide the resources to be a competitive outfit. And what I mean by that is we're going to have our squads. We'll have the resources of forums. We'll have the assets of Teamspeak and all the basic things that a lot of the outfits have. But quite frankly, Goyo, I'm seeing a lot of people on these forums post out there and say, hey, join my outfit, be a part of this. I got a website. I got a Teamspeak. And when I go and look at those and I look at what other people are offering, these are Teamspeaks that have been up there for 2 or 3 months. These are websites that either, one, have been up for a month or 5 months, or two, haven't been updated in 8 years. Toxin's had an active Teamspeak for 5 years. We've got a website with content that's updated every day. We've got people posting articles. We've got people posting blogs. We've got people posting podcasts. We have the resources, we have the membership, and we have the leadership to have a very successful run in Planetside 2. And quite frankly, any new recruit who comes in here and who enjoys Planetside 2, you have a home. And if you don't enjoy Planetside 2, you have found a group of friends and a community that is going to allow you to play other games and have an enjoyable experience.
Thanks for taking the time to update our listeners regarding Toxin Raiders and their plans for Planetside 2. Here's what you've all been waiting for. Toxin Gamers is proud to present the first in a series of discussion tables regarding Planetside 2. IBurnMyCD moderated the discussion on July 12th, 2012 via Toxin Gamers TeamSpeak 3 server.
This is IBurnMyCD here, moderating the first discussion table for Toxin Gamers. Today we have Naz, Gabbage, Goyo, Zico, Rain, Ryzod, Tragic Sins, V-Jams, Zippy, Shades, and Balgas here to discuss Planetside 2. Gentlemen, you may begin.
From what I've seen so far and what they claim, it's not going to have too much of an effect. And absolutely I'll be buying Zebras.
In my opinion, as long as the items are mostly just cosmetic, or say like XP boost or something like that, I don't see any problem with it. Whether or not I might buy it depends on my income.
I really like the free-to-play aspect because it's a huge world that they've created, and if it's a free-to-play game, I think it'll keep the servers full with more people coming in and checking out the game.
Well, I plan to buy the stuff from the Sony store, and I'm assuming they're going to probably have more discount days like they had recently on 4th of July where everything was like 50% off, which is where I kind of swooped in there and scooped up some station cash. So yeah, I agree with pretty much what everyone's saying here. As long as it's not something that changes the gameplay, I'll be purchasing stuff just for fun.
I think I'll definitely be buying stuff, especially since they've announced that there's so many additional weapons that are available. I don't know if they're counted in their side grade type thing or even what they're considering a side grade, but yeah, I'll definitely want to check out more of the weapons as well.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest questions is seeing what they consider side grades. Like, that seems so vague. Oh, and the fact that it's free to play, we'll probably get a whole bunch of COD kitties.
I would say the way I see Toxin operating as a outfit, I would like to see it as a deployed force of the designated pilots, who's getting where, who's driving what, and so on. And as soon as the match starts or we enter the battlefield, we have a plan and we execute. That's really what I want to see, because in games, for me, like in Planetside 1, there's nothing more exciting and exhilarating than just rolling out with your force just to kick ass and take names.
I completely agree with that, and if I recall, we're going to have special trained pilots, tank gunners, and tank pilots, I guess. What I'm looking forward to is seeing everybody coordinate. Tanks, infantry, max suits. As I recall, we're gonna put more emphasis on maxes than tanks or other type of ground vehicles. I think pretty much infantry is is our strength right now, because we've got a lot of good infantry players. I'd say probably our best. We've got some of the best infantry players in the world in FPS games so far.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If the strength is a infantry squad, I think the vehicles, the focus there should be getting our troops to where they need to be. So stuff like Gel drops, APC, Sunder transports, stuff where we can get our people where they need to be. I think that should be a great focus for the vehicles.
On another note, though, infantry's going to have to do a good deal of actually making sure we have the resources, because every one of their planes or tanks costs them a lot more resources, because it's all out of your personal stash.
That's actually a good point.
Everyone running around as infantry is never going to be spending them, but we can't hand them over either, so we're going to have to find a way to make sure they keep supplied.
I think what we're looking at is a good ground force and also a good air force. That way we don't have to worry about tanks, and if we have air support, we can take care of any other airplanes that might be harassing our infantry.
Yeah, that makes sense. Getting our infantry there, making sure our infantry are doing what they need, and the vehicles to support that. Air cavalry, that's a huge thing, so that your galaxies can actually get where they need to drop the troops, or for the gals, supposedly, I guess in Planetside 2, are now going to be deployable as a spawn point, somewhat like the mobile spawn points used to be in Planetside 1. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works.
Another thing to remember when it comes to our vehicles and the way we're going to deploy, you got to remember we're playing Vanu, so our tanks generally have a very large disadvantage in terms of they don't have the turret that can rotate, so the mobility of that vehicle is very limited, and based on Planetside 1, it's very susceptible to air attacks. So I feel as though our armor element is not going to be that big in terms of the amount of people we field in there. It's all about our max suits. The fact that we can move around faster than the other empires in our max suits is going to be huge.
I think that's a pretty nice aspect there. Making sure we're actually keeping our infantry suited up with maxes instead of tanks kind of eases up the chores of managing or micromanaging all the tanks and all the coordination between the infantry and the armor columns. I'd say max suits would be pretty much if of course they're balanced properly, I'd say it's a lot better to use max suits than our armor. Like Naz said, our tanks are pretty much at a disadvantage due to that turret not being able to move around like the other tanks.
So yeah, saying that, which is a great idea. I guess as a pilot or attended designated pilot, most of my early side grades or whatever else, certs, whatever is going to go to allowing more maxes, the max amount of maxes, sorry to be redundant, to fit in the gal or whatever to get you guys there.
Yeah, in Planetside 1, the Vanu max was kind of a crazy combination because all the maxes had a pretty much a nice run speed, almost kind of like a speed that they could run similar to a ground vehicle. Plus, the Vanu Max had the jump jets too, so they could run the speed of a vehicle, plus hop over base walls, jump over trees, jump out of towers, jump to the top level of towers. Whether or not in Planetside 2 they have the same run speed or jump jets that are just as effective. So I think the strategies will kind of unfold as we figure out what's actually possible.
I like the idea, though. I guess it's setting it as a benchmark. I guess the strategy will revolve around maxes, so then I guess we have to have NGs and medics, because I think you need both to heal and repair maxes, and then just kind of go down the list from there.
Tanks aren't going to be suited for our playstyle and how we're going to operate as an outfit. We also need to discover the areas where we need to pick up from the lack of tanks and only having max suits, because tanks in a battle definitely have a intimidating presence of an essence of being able just pushing the battlefield, making the battle go forward. So what are some things like we could do to make up for that loss of tank?
I'd say after watching a couple of live streams from E3, I'd say having jump jets on our max suits is pretty much a big advantage, because what I've seen tanks trying to shoot down max suits, it's really hard. It's not that easy as it looks. I'd say giving us jump jets is probably a good thing, because from what I've seen, most of the time they're just gonna run over the max suit instead of just shooting him, because it's a lot easier to run him over than shooting him.
Realistically, I'm probably gonna get a chance to play it as often as I am home from work and tutoring and all that stuff, and just to try and get a good feel for it. And then outside of playing it, attempt to find out more information from what other people think from other factions on the forums and stuff too, just to get a better feel for the overall game.
Well, being the big gaming geek that I am, I actually saved up most of my vacation time for this year, so I'm pretty much going to schedule it for those days they have the testing.
Now that Higby has his haircut, after work I just get home and I'm sitting with my email client open, hitting F5, just waiting for the beta to start. So as soon as it does, I'm sure I'll put in a lot of time, take some days off, get to enjoy the game, and then we'll get in and figure out what's what with it.
My guess is probably by the end of the month, we're gonna have a good chunk of people in the beta, and I'd say I think I'd say for every FPS freak in here, we're gonna be playing this game for quite a long time.
Agreed. I'd also like to add, with the beta being available to us at certain designated times, I'd like to see us starting off with helping the developers improve the game and any aspect that we feel is needed. I would also like us to start working on our outfit strategy, how we're going to play, and how we can help Vanu the best way we can.
That portion is really interesting to me, because after playing Planetside 1 for the past while, after returning to the game because of some promotions that they've had, there's definitely some Vanu strategies that are used a lot. The max crash, the gal drop, really classic Vanu strategies that of course are used, but kind of the bread and butter of Vanu. So it'll be interesting to see if those are still viable or if they're tweaked or whatnot. I can't wait to see that.
Piggybacking off Zippy, in regards to helping out the developers and stuff, maybe there could be some kind of way as a team we can present like one comprehensive type of report to them of the stuff that we found and send it to them, so in addition to the beta forums, it doesn't get inundated with the same redundant stuff over and over again, particularly if people like specialize or play in one area. Like I'm probably flying most of the time, so most of the glitches or problems I might run into may relate to flying in skies and aircraft. Maybe we compile it and then like end of the week or something, somebody sends it to them on behalf of Toxin or something like that.
Being that that's my bread and butter, and I work as a game tester, have been working as a game tester for a long time, and now database admin for Sony, I'd be happy to work with one of the officers, Naz, Burn, Zico, to set up a kind of a outline for a report for how to basically write out a bug that in a clear and concise way, so that we can compile it all together. And like you said, put it up every week and have one person from that's designated from Toxin to submit that over. I think that'd be really good.
That's cool. We have some professional testers here. Yes, be interesting. I've wanted to check out stuff like weapon statistics, armor statistics, and possibly check it from revision to revision, and see if they're trending a certain way in the game balance. So that would be really interesting for me.
Something I wanted to kind of reinforce, I think it was Razor that mentioned it, about how medics and engineers are going to be important. But one thing we can't forget, we're going to be out in the field for large amounts of time. I mean, the hexes cover the entire map, so you could be fighting anywhere out there. You could be out in the boonies, you could be in a base. And engineers are the only people, as far as I know, that can carry ammo boxes, and that's going to be another huge factor. You don't want to run out of bullets in the middle of nowhere. That's quite possibly the worst thing that could happen.
So possibly, I guess, people that are usually designated support can, I guess, dual responsibility. It's not so, like seeing me being a pilot and all. I probably run engineer mostly, so I guess once we get you guys to the destination safely, then at that point, ditch the aircraft and then just run support.
I mean, it's relative on the situation, really. It could be either, we leave 2 or 3 engineers and a medic with you to defend the thing because we're coming back in a second. We're just capping a point, getting out, trying to divert, fire from a certain base for them to come here because they think they're losing something else, and we just do a little whole switcheroo and go back. So, I mean, it's really a relative scenario.
Good point. And just going back to it, I like how we're just thinking about this already ahead of time, that hopefully coming out the beta we'll have a clear-cut vision of our strategy, like what will kind of everything is going to revolve around, like quarterback style. Then I would just, like support players or someone like myself, I would just pretty much purchase all my side grades, search, whatever it is just going to cater to my role to support the ultimate, role. Whatever.
Yeah, the interesting thing with some of the support classes or support characters or things like driving a Lodestar if it's still in the game, piloting a Galaxy, healing, engineering, repairing armor. Some of those are ways you can get command experience through not actually leading a squad. And in Planetside 1, increasing your command experience was huge, because everybody knows at different levels of command rank, you get more abilities, and some of those abilities are pretty badass.
Yeah, that's the only concern I have, is just how it would play out for someone like myself that plans mostly to run support, how I would rank up and get, adequate amount of search to even upgrade the gals to support the rest of the team and all that without me actually being on the ground most of the time fighting. So that's why I suspect myself using a lot of boosters and so forth. But I'm really curious how I'm actually going to be able to progress playing mostly support.
Yeah, I would like to know that too, because along with you, I want to be a supportive pilot, working the gal or a fighter. It doesn't matter. I want to be there to support. So I've been curious to know of what kind of reward will I get besides my want to be a team player. Will I get points to where I don't always have to buy boosters so that I can continue to be a pilot, or not?
I know specifically as a gal pilot, after people drop out or use your gal to resupply or as a mobile spawn point, you as the Galaxy owner or pilot will get a fraction of their experience for a set amount of time. So that's a way to promote the support roles. I know there's other cases, armor repair and healing, and I'm sure there's probably even more bonuses for experience just to help you, help the team.
That's something I've always been intrigued by, is like playing support characters and support classes, stuff like that. It's always fun, but sometimes, like, even after the hard work of helping out the team, stuff like that, it's like, I did a good job helping the team, but am I going to get any more benefits out of, I feel like a good person? I don't know. Probably when it comes to Planetside 2, I'm probably going to dwell more into the support type classes, just to change the game up a little bit in a sense, because after playing something, playing like the main like damage class, stuff like that, it gets boring after a while. You gotta change up the flavor.
I see some real potential for utility in some of the support classes, especially in engineer. I can't remember if it's the engineer or the healing class that can set up the mobile deployable turrets and shields. And that idea really intrigues me. Is that going to help us possibly take capture points? Is that going to help us defend capture points? I know we're all going to be kicking ass, shooting TR and NC, so that's not going to be a problem. But it's going to be fun playing with the tools that help us do that.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I just thought about that, and one of the ideas I had, I was thinking about being a pilot, and I guess, like, for instance, dropping a gal and deploying it as a spawn point, and then having like a forward station to help defend, I guess, or ward off anyone from, on the ground at least, trying to get to the gal. But mainly just support for ammo, if I'm being an engineer, so you guys don't have to always run all the way back to the gal to resupply if you're still alive. I mean, it seems like we've got some really beast-type FPS guys in here, so, rather than just dying just to spawn on the gal to get ammo, someone like myself or other engineer pilots can be at a forward, I guess you can say, station halfway and then go from there. But with that turret, that would at least be something to help defend with our measly little submachine guns we might get.
I feel like they've really changed the role of the Galaxy in Planetside 2 because of the whole mobile spawn and resupply point, to the point where you can land it and set it up as a forward operating base. And so that whole concept of engineers having turrets they can place up will play into you as the pilot and possibly maybe 2 of your gunners, because 3 gunner seats on the gal. So 3 engineers, 1 medic, and that's the perfect defending squad for a gal, while we're trying to take over a point. For example, maybe you dropped off our infantry in a stealth position. They don't know we're there. You set up, you just make sure that you have a perimeter around that gal, because last thing we want is losing our spawn point and having to fly all the way back out here, compromising our position and whatnot.
Thank you, gentlemen, for spending your time this evening to discuss your thoughts.
That's it for this episode of the Toxin Audio News. Join us next week for another update on Toxin and an interview with Toxin's recruitment officer, Big Cracker. And remember, what happens in the Toxin Tower stays in the Toxin Tower.